B'siyatah dishmaya. May all that I say and all the chizuk that we gain stand as a zchut for Klal Yisrael. Invoke rachamei shamayim for all those in need of Yeshuot, and embrace Hashem with nachat ruach. Amen. I'd like to thank Alyssa for arranging for me to speak tonight. I feel very humbled. I feel very privileged to be Mekayim the pasuk lilmod ulelamed lishmor v'lasot, to learn and to teach, to safeguard and to perform Hashem's beautiful mitzvot. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here. I'm really, really honored. I can't say how close I feel to all of my readers. I really am so connected to everyone. I'm just very humbled. I know we all have a gift. I know we all have a gift. And Baruch Hashem, my gift is just very visible and in people's face, but we all have a gift. And everyone who reads the Daily Dose is part of that gift. So it's not about just me that puts it out there, but everyone who learns and really tries to implement, because I learn what I put out there, you know. It's just an amazing thing, and we are bringing Mashiach. Just make it very clear to everyone that every day you read the Daily Dose, you're bringing Mashiach, 100%. And every time you implement this little bit in what you've learned, like I try to, you're hastening Mashiach's coming. So I commend you all, and Baruch Hashem, it's a big zchut. So tonight's topic, which is one that we all really need a lot of coping skills with, is Chinuch Yeladim. What it means to bring up our kids with and without Emuna. And there is a difference, whether you have Emuna or whether you don't have Emuna. Forgive my voice. 2 hours after I landed, laryngitis. I had a voice when I got off the plane, and 2 hours later, it disappeared. So I've drank everything from milk to garlic to ginger to lemon, and I even went to an acupuncturist today. So I'm really, bear with me. I'm going to really try as best as I can to bring my voice up to my passion about Hashem and my love for Him. So just forgive me. I hope you'll understand everything I say. So the whole idea of having children, in and of itself, is a testimony on our behalf that we have Emuna. Because let's face it, we have our children, and we really don't know how it's going to end up being. I mean, today I have a job, and 10 years from now, I may not. So having children in and of itself is a testimony and a proclamation to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we have Emuna. The children are the guarantors of Torah. When Moshe Rabbeinu was going to give the Torah, Hashem asked for guarantors. And Hashem, after having an argument, per se, quote unquote, a discussion with Hashem, Hashem only ended up settling with the children being the guarantors of the Torah. And why? When our children, our young children, come to us and ask us a Torah insight, a question, they ask it and they don't have any preconditioned mindset. They come and they really want to explore the truth. They really want to know, Ma, what's the meaning of this? And when you give them the answer, they unequivocally believe what you're saying. There is no preconceived notions in their mind. As opposed to adults, when we ask questions, we have a predetermined idea in our mind. We have a set mind. And so, when someone gives us an answer, if it doesn't rub off well, if it doesn't feel right, I'm going to argue the point. It's going to taint my Emuna. It's going to lessen my Emuna. It's not going to be the same. So one of the things that not only we teach children, but that they teach us, is they teach us the notion of Emuna Pshuta. Simple, innocent Emuna. Take what you're being taught and learn and accept. Now, again, Hashem doesn't want blind faith. Let's just understand. Emuna does not mean a leap of faith. I really want to emphasize that. Emuna comes from the word ne'emanut, loyalty. Emuna means I'm loyal to the knowledge of Hashem's Torah. I have this knowledge. I have the messages of the Torah. I take what Hashem says to me and I'm loyal to it. No matter what. No matter what seems to look on the surface, I'm loyal to what Hashem has to say. Emuna Pshuta is exactly that. I'm not coming with any preconceived notions. I'm accepting face value what Hashem says. But it's not a blind faith. It's acceptance based on the fact that in me resides an inner point of truth, of a spark of light, a spark of godliness. And when I believe and I act upon my Emuna, I'm igniting that which already resides within me. All I'm doing is pushing away the guk. I'm pushing away the walls that I built around my heart, the ego. I'm breaking it, I'm shattering it so I can really accept and be one with Hashem. So that's what Emuna Pshuta. Again, it doesn't mean I don't delve and try to understand. You're supposed to know today. That's the idea. You're supposed to know. But once you know, and it's still hard for you to accept, it goes against your logic, it's not rational. Hashem, look, you know better than me. I really don't understand. I'm going to take one step back, like we expect our kids to do. Say, trust me on this, right? We tell our kids, trust me on this. Hashem says, trust me on this. Same idea. The guarantors of the Torah, like we said, are children. On top of the Aron HaKodesh was a lid. On the lid were two images, the cheruvim. The cheruvim were not in the image of Moshe Rabbeinu. They weren't in the image of any other tzaddikim. They were in the likeness of a boy and a girl. Two children. That is the significance of our children. They are on top of Aron HaKodesh. They are on top of the Torah. They're protecting it. And this message to us is that we have to be a little bit more childlike. We have to learn from our children. You know, we're always looking to teach our children. We're going to talk about that tonight. But we also have to learn from our children. And that's how we started this off, is that we should learn from our children. Emuna Pshuta. So educating and rearing our children, nurturing them, it really is our job. And it is a very joyful experience. Yet, when our children use their free will to go against us and to go against our values, Torah or not, it's the worst anguish a person can feel. Because we look at our children as extensions of ourselves. So for us, when we look at kids, that, again, I'm not necessarily talking off the derech kids, I'm talking about kids who don't cherish a value. I'm very honest, my kid is not. I don't tend to lie, my kids do. It really is very painful. But again, to the extent that it's joyful, it's also painful. It goes both ways. Yet still, through it all, we grow by bringing up our kids, even in that anguish. Because when Hashem gave us our children, they were tailor-made from the hair on their head until the dirt under their toenails, 100% for us, just like our husbands are. Tailor-made. Their character is exactly what we need. I don't need a kid who's less wild, more calm, smarter, more social, more giving. I need exactly what I have. Because my house is boot camp. My house is boot camp to learn to work on my midot, on my attributes, my characteristic. And if I had any other kid, I wouldn't reach my soul rectification. So we have to understand, when we get frustrated with our children, first of all, what we're saying is, someone here made a mistake, okay? I don't understand why I'm so patient. And I thought I was really patient. And then I had kids. And I thought I had a really great memory until my kid said that I said yes to a question I don't even remember he asked. So in the meantime, I have this child who is showing me this side of myself that I don't want to see. I don't care to see. But we all know, again, tonight you're not going to hear anything new. But we're here to strengthen ourselves, to understand that our children are here to teach us as much as we're here to teach them. And whatever we're going to learn is things that we learned before, but we want to emphasize them, and we want to go home and, Bezrat Hashem, do avoda. We want to do avoda. We have to do avoda. So children teach us really who we are. They are, like I said, the mirror of who we are. And my home, like I said, is a boot camp. But if I am emotionally wounded, if I am carrying around emotional baggage, and this goes for anything in life, not just with my children, it's my spouse, this goes with the way I deal with my parents, my siblings, my neighbors, everybody. If I'm emotionally wounded, and I speak about this a lot in the Daily Dose now, because Baruch Hashem has given me the zchut to do a lot of research, and I find more and more how emotional healing, spiritual healing is directly connected to how we live our lives, how we perceive Hashem, how we have a relationship with our spouse, and so on and so forth. So if I'm carrying around baggage, if I'm not dealing with that gook that's been sitting inside of me, I'm not going to deal well, not with my parents, not with my husband, not with my children, and everything's going to be seen in a different light. Again, this is something I think we all know about, but we all try to hide. We really do. But if there's one thing we should go home with tonight, is to do that painful job that's called digging inside. It's not just for once a year on Elul. It's not just a once a year thing that we have to do, because then there's so much to have to recollect and recall. We have to do it every day. Every day we go to bed, we have to sit down with ourselves and say, you know what? I shouldn't have yelled at my kids. You know what? When my husband came through the door, he didn't have to get up and make a cup of tea. I should have made it for him. I know what he likes. You know, when my husband came through the door, I really shouldn't have been on the phone. It's nice. You're coming after a day's work. It's nice to greet him. And I'm talking, it seems like I'm one-sided, but there's no men here. So I'm not here to talk to the men. I'm here to talk to us. And anyway, Judaism teaches us that you have to give 100% and not 50-50. There's no such thing as 50-50. We have to give 100% of ourselves to our husbands. So it's just the way of life. And the same thing is with our kids. It's unconditional. And we're going to talk soon how we can learn about these, this idea of unconditional through Hashem, through our role model, the role model of a parent, Hashem. So the Shema teaches us just a tad bit of an insight of what it is that we have to work on in terms of bringing up our children. And the Shema writes, what we're communicating to our children, where? At home, away from home. First thing in the morning, last thing at night. In our deeds, in our thoughts. Verbally, non-verbally. Publicly, privately. In other words, I have to talk the talk and I have to walk the walk. Personal example. Again, here we go again. Having to take a look at ourselves and seeing, where am I? Where am I? If I'm scarred, if I'm angry, if I'm resentful towards Hashem, towards my spouse, towards my kids, towards myself, I cannot parent properly. And again, this affects my whole being. But we don't want to go there. And we keep going around the bush. But we have to deal with it. And like I said, not just on Rosh Hashanah. We've got to deal with it. I have to deal with what's going on in me. I have to deal with where I am. Am I happy? I'm going to talk soon about, what it means to be happy. Take a hard, good look at yourself and start working on it. Because without it, I could be giving you tools till tomorrow. They're not going to work. They're not going to be lasting. It's temporary, a temporary Band-Aid. But when I take the Band-Aid off the wound and I dig inside and I take out the pus and I sanitize the wound and then I cover it back up, then I know I'm healed. And that's what we have to do. That's the work. And that's the work of our generation in particular, because we have a lot of tightness. We have a lot of complaints. towards ourselves and to others, and we've got to deal with it. So our home is a spiritual adventure. Anyone getting that feeling yet? It's a place where we get to explore who we are. And like I said, we're going to hide a lot of times because we don't want to see ourselves. So let me go just a little bit into just the secular view of what they say about personal example. So the U.S. studies indicate that if a person smokes in the house, one of the parents smoke in the house, the chances of their child smoking doubles or quadruples. Again, no news here. If one of the parents go by a low-fat diet intake, then the children have 5 times a greater chance to also follow that diet. No news here either. But again, we tend to shy away from this. We tell our kids, go to bed. You need to sleep. Why are you awake? Well, what time do you go to bed? What do you do when it's late at night? We say to our children, eat a healthy breakfast. What are you noshing on those donuts for? What do we have for breakfast? Coffee and donuts. So our children, you could talk whatever you want, but they see us and they absorb everything that we do. And again, we know this, but I want to emphasize it to us so we understand that the way we respond, if it's in our Yiddishkeit, if it's in our personal lives, I mean, how do I respond when my husband insults me? What do I say to him? Do I yell back at him? How do I respond when my husband annoys me? How do I respond when I sink into that couch after a long day and my husband turns to me and he says to me, honey, you bring me a glass of water? What do I say to him? Go get it yourself? Why'd you have to say it to me when I just sunk in? You couldn't tell me 5 minutes ago when I was standing? So our kids look at this and they see it. And let me tell you, Shlom Bayit is the foundation of Chinuch Yeladim. You cannot run away from that. Our kids learn everything by the way we interact with our kids. And you could do everything by Dr. Spock. And you can do everything by the book. But let me tell you, if there's no Shlom Bayit in that house, your kids will despise you, and they will despise the spouse. And that no matter how much the parents argue about a check that bounced in the bank, you should know that the kid always feels it's about him. A kid always thinks that the parents are fighting because of him. He doesn't see anything else but himself. So when parents argue, the first thing he thinks, oh my gosh, it's my fault. It's my fault. So it's not just about hiding in the room and shh, I don't want the kids to hear, shh. They see everything. If there's separation, if there's distance between the parents, the kids won't have a connection. They just won't. And it's just, we're not going to give them a wholesome, healthy environment. Again, things we know. So the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh teaches us, Ivdu Hashem b'simcha. Serve Hashem b'simcha. It's not just serving Hashem, because all our lives are about serving Hashem. It's not just in servicing Hashem, it's us being b'simcha. And simcha is directly corresponding to Emuna. Because if I have Emuna, I spoke about this before tonight with my sister, the 4 principles of Emuna. Number 1, everything that happens to me, where is it from? Hashem. And od milvado. And od milvado? Well, if I get angry at my husband, yes, od milvado. There is somebody else but Hashem. There's my husband. If I am upset at the bank, that they bounced my check, yes, od milvado. There's a bank. Right? I get angry at my husband that he insulted me. Yes, od milvado. And od milvado. I don't see my husband. I don't see my kids. My kid's not having a tantrum. That's not them. It's Hashem. You're testing me. You want to see where I'm at. You want me to relate to you. You want that Emuna button to be pushed when I get upset. Yes, od milvado. If I don't. Number 1, everything's from Hashem. Number 2, Hashem loves me. Hashem loves me. Oh boy, does he love us. Let me tell you, today I sat down in the acupuncture office. And you know, I had someone from Long Island on the Hillel campus one of the colleges who wanted me to come this morning to do a Hafreshat Challah demonstration. And I emailed him in Israel, and I told him to call me once I get here. And he calls me on Monday morning. I pick up the phone, and he says, hello? Yeah? Can I speak to Orit? Speaking. He says, are you okay? Because I had no voice. This is good. I said, yeah, I'm okay. I just have a little laryngitis. He says to me, but aren't you on a speaking tour? I said, yeah. He says, well, how are you going to speak? I said, Hashem has a plan. I'm going to speak. He's going to make it happen. And through it, I'm going to grow in my Emuna. And today, as I sat in the acupuncturist's office, she put on the most amazing, gorgeous spiritual music. It happens to be a disc that's called Conversations with Angels. I mean, how much more spiritual can you get? And I'm lying there, and I'm relaxing, and tears are just pouring. And I'm lying there, and I'm like, Hashem, I can't believe this. I can't believe what you're doing for me. You took away my voice so that I'm going to know that I have no voice without you. There is no such thing as me and my voice. There's no such thing as my words. I mean, I've always known this, but what a lesson. Here I am, I'm davening for 3 months before the tour that I don't have an MS attack, you know, a relapse from my MS, thinking my legs are going to go shot on me and I'm going to be, you know. I never davened for my voice. I didn't think my voice was going to go. And I'm just sitting there in the office thinking to myself, Hashem, boy, you really love me. Measure for measure. I mean, how dumb could I be not to realize that Hashem was directly communicating to me how much He loves me? And I'm just sitting there, and I'm lying there, and I'm thinking to myself, I love you so much. Thank you for this amazing lesson. What other way is there to get through life? What's the alternative? Getting angry at myself? Yelling at myself? Beating up on my kids? Them being my punching bag? My husband? What? Tell me, what other alternative is there? There's no other alternative. So, first it's from Hashem. 2, Hashem loves me. If it's from Hashem and Hashem loves me, it's like I'm walking down the street and someone gives me a whack on my back, and I turn around, I want to whack him back, and soon I see it's my Father. My Father. Okay, it doesn't hurt so much. Number 3, it's from from Avinu Malkeinu, from our Father, and He loves me. It's good. It's good. It must be good. Because I know I'm a parent. I would never do anything bad to my kids. It's great. It's wonderful. It has to be good. It's medicine. It's a bit medicine. It's a little bitter, right? But it's good. It heals me. And number 4. Don't jump to number 4. We all jump to number 4. Don't jump to number 4 without the first 3. Number 4. What are you telling me, Hashem? What's the message here? Once I realize that it's from Hashem and He loves me, I've already taken my heart, I've put down the fire, I've calmed my emotions, and now my brain can take charge. Because once my heart is in a volcanic eruption, I can't think clearly. I won't be able to accept what Hashem has. So we go straight from, oh, I know, I learned this in Emuna class, yes. Hashem. No, wait. Gotta go to the first few steps. Make sure you're there. Make sure you understand. Make sure you reassure yourself. Hashem loves you, and this is for your good, even though you don't understand it, and it's against rationale. What do you mean it's for good that I don't have any money for Shabbat? What do you mean it's good that I'm very unhappy with my marriage and the Shekhinah's not in my home? What do you mean? Okay, it doesn't matter. I don't have to understand. Emuna is wisdom of the soul. Has nothing to do with logic. The soul doesn't understand logic. The soul is connected to infinity. My mind is connected to finite, to finity, to here. It's restrained. I can't understand Hashem. Like our kids can't understand us, I can't understand Hashem. So we have to understand that if we go through those steps, it'll be much easier for us. So going back to happiness, I can be happy if I have Emuna. Because one of the indicators, the barometer of checking where I am with my Emuna is how happy I am. If I'm frustrated, if I'm angry, if I'm sad, my Emuna is very weak. Because Emuna is directly tied into happiness. So if I'm unhappy, then I have to work on my Emuna, and we all do. We all do. At one time or another, we all do. So I want to go through a couple of key points in terms of, so we can walk away with practical tools. We spoke about Shalom Bayit, and that's number one. Again, I just want to emphasize, there are no coincidences in life. My kids are exactly what I need. Just remember that when they're having a temper tantrum, or when they spilled the milk right after I cleaned the floors, or, when they came to me in the middle of the night just as I was getting comfortable. Just remember that. This is what I need. Exactly tailored for me. And I love you, Hashem. Even if you have to force yourself to say the word, the famous pasuk in Tehillim is, Ha'emanti ki adaber. Whatever I say is what I believe. We don't just say, Im Yirtzeh Hashem, God willing, I'll be there in 5 minutes. When we say that, and I enjoin my life with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then what I'm actually doing is I'm understanding that Enod Milavado, and it helps me, it strengthens me, so that when God forbid, no one should know, but when the blow does come, I'm a little bit more prepared. I got my shield on. It's sort of a shield. So, I want us just to understand one thing. Masechet Avot teaches us, Lo alecha hamelacha ligmo. It's not incumbent upon you to finish the task. Anything in life, success and failure, are not in our hands. We are cursed to do hishtadlut. It's a curse. It's a curse to go out to work. It's a curse that we have to spend our time involved in this mundane world and not be embraced by Hashem's presence. Let's just understand that. Hashem is written in the Gemara, Rahmana Liba Baye. Hashem wants our heart. That's all Hashem wants. Hashem wants our will. He wants us to desire to want to live with Emuna. He wants us to incorporate Him in our lives, which is one of the reasons why we have hardships. There's a lot of reasons. But one of the reasons that Derech HaChasidut, the Derech HaBaal Shem Tov, and the Chasidut, Chabad, and Rabbi Nachman, they all teach us that the idea of hardships and difficulties in our lives are wake-up calls. They're signal posts. They're meant to, again, after I go through those 3 steps, get to that 4th step, wake up, what's going on here? Why am I going through this? What could I change? And if I don't understand, I say to Hashem, Hashem, I have no idea what I'm supposed to learn from this. Please give me clarity of mind here. Please send me something that I will understand. Send me a book, send me a CD, send me a person, send me a therapist. I don't care. But I got to understand. I need to understand. Because otherwise, you're going to send me the hardship again. I mean, we press on the sleep button when we need to get up in the morning and the alarm goes off. It's not enough. I need to understand so I could shut the alarm. So that's very, very important. When we do what we are supposed to do, when we emotionally heal ourselves and don't ignore our pain, when we go ahead and put our children in the best schools, the right environments, we're watching over them, feeding them properly, X, Y, and Z. If they don't turn out to be with those values that we feel, and we feel in our hearts that that's what Hashem wants, you can be rest assured you're not going to be accountable. Now, I'm not just saying that to help you feel better. I'm here to say that that's what the Torah teaches us. Okay? It's not incumbent upon us. How our kids end up turning out to be, we're going to have to give an accounting for it only if we failed to live by what Hashem has asked us to do. But if we've done what we're supposed to do, then we have to know to let go. Okay? I just want to calm ourselves and reassure ourselves in that sense. So let's go to the whole idea of Hashem being the role model of a parent. Let's look at the way Hashem treats us, and let's learn how to be a good parent through the way Hashem interacts with us. First thing, we should know, again, learning Emuna, that Hashem takes care of us. We should be going to bed at night feeling very secured, feeling like, okay, I'm in a good place because Hashem's with me. My Father, He's here. He loves me. I'm okay. That's why our kids need to go to bed at night. They need to know that they're entrusted, they're secure, they're not going to be kicked out of their house. You know, they have to know that they're 100% accepted. It's very, very important. Number 2, Hashem sets up a structure in life. He gives us Shabbatot. He gives us Chagim. He gives us a schedule of davening 3 times a day. Yet, on the other hand, He gives us free will. He gives us our own space to find ourselves. And for that, I want to delve just a little bit Kabbalistically about the whole creation of the world. Just try to stay with me on this for a minute. It's a little deep, but I know you're all going to stick with me. In the beginning of creation, when Hashem created the world, He created, when we say Kvodo Malei Olam, that His presence is in the entire world, that there's no such thing, this, everything is Hashem, right? And Od Milvado. So how do you create a universe that's as if not seeing Hashem? Again, I don't know the whole thing, but I'll tell you what I learned. Hashem created an empty space, okay? He created a void in the universe. In that void, He put this world. And we know it. We are where we are. So to speak, Hashem created a place in the universe, a free space. And with that, that's where we are. The world that we know is called Ben. Hashem is known as Av. So Hashem reacts to this world as an Av, as a father reacts to a Ben, to his son. And Hashem puts us in this space where as if He's not here, which is not true, He's always here. We distance ourselves from Hashem and He never distances Himself from us. We just create blockages to filter out His light. But the bottom line is that space gives us free will. That space enables us to grow. It nurtures growth. So within the boundaries that Hashem gave us, He also created space. And that's what we need to do with our kids. We need to give them boundaries. We need to give them space. But again, we see them as an extension of ourselves. It's really hard to sort of let go. We've got to let go. We have to give them what they need and then let go. Let them explore themselves. And like we come to Hashem when we need Him, let them come to us when they need us. And like Hashem, when He sees fit right, He will overturn nature. He will overturn occurrences to show us His hashgacha, to proclaim to us that He's there. So will we. When our kids really need us, we'll show them that we're there for them. And that's what's needed. But again, not to suffocate them. Or Chaim HaKadosh teaches us that within ourselves, we have the strength to find ourselves. So it is within this little space that we have the power to explore who we are. Now, being that we're so close to Hanukkah, let's put a little insight here. Hanukkah is derived from the word Chinuch. Chinuch means to be educated. I'll just tell you this. I have a whole shir on Hanukkah, Bezrat Hashem, this Sunday in the 5 towns. So you'll see it on Torah anytime. You'll get a lot of insight from it, Bezrat Hashem. Just to start us off a little bit. The 36 lights, there's 45, but the shamash is not included. According to the Kabbalah, there's 36 lights of the Hanukkah. The Hanukkah flames are 36 flames. These 36 lights are derived from the Or HaGanuz, from the hidden light that shined in creation the first 3 days of creation. Because it was only on the 4th day that Hashem created the sun and the moon and the stars. But there was light. And this light came from the Or HaGanuz, from this hidden light. With this light, if we had this light today, I wouldn't see this table. I would see Hashem in this table. I would feel His energy in this table. When they say that Adam HaRishon was able to see from one end of the world to the next, that was because of the Or HaGanuz. It was because of this hidden light. So that light was 12 hours for the first 3 days, a total of 36 hours. Every time we light a candle, we experience 1 hour of that Or HaGanuz. First day 1 hour, second day 2 hours, third day 3 hours, until Zot Hanukkah, the 8th day, and we get to experience and accumulated all the 36 hours of this hidden light. What is this to do with Chinuch Yeladim? That light exposes to me who I really am. When I look at those flames, especially during the first half an hour after Shkia, after sunset, which is the time to light, rush and light those candles the first half an hour, and you sit there. The Oregon news is going to shine on those candles, but the first half an hour, it's beyond compare. The power of it is beyond compare. When you sit there in front of those lights, sit there and meditate on yourself and think about who you are. And I'm telling you, you're going to walk away like you've walked away from a therapy session. You are going to have so much insight into who you are that it's going to be scary for you. So you got to prepare yourself. You're going to see who you really are. But let me tell you, if there's any time to see and work on emotional healing, we're gifted with Hanukkah. And it's once a year. Because that Oregon news, that hidden light, is only given to us in 2 different ways. 1, through the lights of Hanukkah, and 2, for the men, bless you, when they learn a Torah insight. When they learn a Torah insight, that light is on their head. And they're ecstatic. That's why they say that when you learn Torah, you're not in this world. You're part of the next world. Because that's that Oregon news. You're basking in that light of Hashem. There's no barriers. It's just me and you, Hashem. So, just a little insight on that way. One very key point. Someone's going to have to stop me. I don't know. I said an hour. I don't know how long I've been speaking.
Even 10 minutes, and we'll go to questions.
Oh, well, I have more than 10 minutes. We'll let them, everyone will tell me if they want me to shut up. One point in Chinuch Yeladim, bringing up our kids, holds 70% success in it. So on one hand, it's very encouraging. If you do this, you got it made 70%. 70% of your job is done. On the other hand, 70% of those eggs are in that basket. So if I mess up, I'm in trouble. And what's the 70%? It's love. To love our kids. Now, this may seem a really odd thing to say, but I'm going to talk to you now about what it means to love our kids. Children should never, and I say this to myself, please God, I should learn this too, should never, ever, ever feel they're a burden to us. I'm saying this, I'm holding back the tears, because we all have to learn this. When we approach our kids and we're annoyed by them, they feel like they're a burden to us. They feel like we have no choice but to have them in the house. They walk away feeling like we're stuck with them. You know what a horrible feeling that is? I could just imagine how I would feel. And they don't know that I've had a really horrible day, or that I'm really unhappily married, or that I hate my boss, and they don't care. I have to do that work with myself way before they come home. I've got to ask Hashem to help me let it go, because my kids are not a punching bag. It's not their problem, okay? And this is where we all fall short, and that's going against love. And that's what we do. That's what I do. And that's what we have to learn to not do. If I don't cherish and appreciate my life, if I'm not happy in my life, I can't teach my kids that I cherish or appreciate their lives. And they won't love and cherish themselves. It's a direct rippled effect. So, again, and I'm going to keep saying this until it blows out of our ears, start working on ourselves. Sit down every night and chisel away at that heap and pile of emotions that are just sitting there and eating at us and not freeing ourselves from being able to be the true happy me. The true me, the inner me, the soul who's happy, who's connected to all good. I can't feel that if I'm upset. So this love has to be unconditional. What does it mean, unconditional? It means that my kid not just has to hear it, but he has to know that I love him because of him. Not because he's smart, Not because he gets good grades, not because he helps me in the kitchen, not because he helps me with the laundry, but because of him. I want us to all walk away tonight and learn one sentence to say to our kids every day. I want you to go up to your kids every day and say, hey, Yaakov, guess what? Mommy loves you. And you know why I love you? And he'll say, because I'm a tzaddik. No. Because I got a good grade. No. Because I clean up my room. No. Because you're Yaakov. Because you're my son. I love you. Because you're my son. And half an hour later say, do you remember what I just told you half an hour ago? Write it down. Don't forget. Mommy loves you. Mommy loves you. Remember, Mommy always loves you. Do we say that? Every day. I'm going to say it to your husband too. I'm pushing the line. You have to say it to your husband too. Pick up the phone. Hi, honey. I just called to say I love you. Bye-bye. He'll be like, was that my wife or my mistress? But we got to do it. And even if we don't feel it, there's a beautiful psychological, I know it comes from psychology, but I know it also comes from the Torah, is אחרי המעשים נמשכים הלבבות. After the deeds, our hearts follow. If I'm not happy and I can't bring myself to be happy with my kid at this moment, and it's 9 o'clock and I still didn't tell him I loved him, then I'm going to go in the room and I'm going to stand in front of the mirror and I'm going to go like this. I'm going to push that cheek up and I'm going to make myself smile. And it's not just a hoot. It's true. If I force myself to smile, eventually you're going to be laughing at yourself. You're going to be smiling. You're going to be happy. And with that attitude, you should go to your children and tell them that you love them. And again, it's not enough for you to say, I'll give my arm for my kid. Right? We all say, I'm going to give my life to my kid. If they don't know it, if we're annoyed with them, again, you want me to, can't you just eat the schnitzel that I have to now, I mean, it's fresh. I thought you liked. I have to do it because my kid's not a burden to me, because I love my kid. And I don't want to talk about, God forbid, okay? I'm not going to even say the words. Think about it and just keep it with you and cherish it and thank Hashem. When your kid does something and you're annoyed, look up and say, Hashem, just give me the strength to be able to do this. Just give me the strength. We're going to talk about patience because that's very important. There are 3 times during the day that are most vital to give kids attention and love. We all love the idea of quality time because we don't have quantity time. So here are 3 moments of the day where, please, all of us need to give our kids this love, attention, unconditional, warmth. First thing in the morning. Our kid leaves in the morning. I don't care if he's 50 years old or 3. You go over to that child. I'm sorry to be so harsh. You go over to that child. You kiss his head, his arm, his feet, his legs. And you say, Mommy loves you. Have a wonderful day. I'm going to wait to see you when you come home. I'm going to miss you. What do you want to eat? Can I make you something special? The kid shouldn't feel like we're getting rid of him. Shout out. The bus. Out. Don't you see? Again, you have to prepare your lunch 2 minutes before. No. The kid has to walk away every morning saying, my mother and my father love me. They're waiting for me when I come home. I'm lucky. Second, when they come home, it's okay. We might not be home. That's okay. Leave a note on the refrigerator. Mommy loves you. Sorry I couldn't be here to hug you, but I prepared your favorite meal. Not every day, okay? Once a week, fine, whatever. Once a month, Rosh Chodesh, whatever. Give them that feeling when they come home. Eye-to-eye contact. How was your day? How was it with your friends? How was the teacher? Did he treat you nice? What did he say to you? Not how much did you get on your test. How are you feeling? And when I do that, I have to talk about my feelings. Mommy had a really miserable day today. The boss, boy, you don't know what he did to me today. But I'll tell you one thing. I know it was Hashem. I don't really see the boss, Throw in some Emuna in there. Help them. When they're out there, in recess and they feel abandoned and they feel they have no friends, let them remember that there's a Hashem. Let them remember that they could talk to Hashem. I always tell my kids, you're never alone. Remember that. You're never, ever alone. Hashem is with you. We could just talk to Him. Hashem is everywhere you invite Him to be. You don't invite Him, you won't feel Him. But if you invite Him in, He's there. So that's important. And the third is at night, before our kids go to bed. It's very important, again, that they understand that we love them. Kids go to bed with fear. They fear monsters. They fear devils. They fear violence. They fear they're not going to wake up in the morning. They fear they're missing the party that the parents are going to be having when they go to bed. We have to reassure them that we're going to be there. They're going to be there. Everything's good. We love you. And we're not upset with them over the milk that they spilled. We're not upset that they got a 50 on the test. That we love them and we accept them full-heartedly. Now, there are some kids that just don't like hugs. Okay? We all have them, especially when they get older. A beautiful tool to practice. When your children are sleeping, you go to them. This is whether they like hugs or not. It's an added bonus if you do. You go over to them while they're sleeping. They're sleeping. And you go over and you give them a kiss. And you say, Mommy loves you. That's it. Nothing more. Their neshama knows. Their neshama knows that you love them. And again, it doesn't matter if they're 50. You go ahead and you give them a kiss. And it does, you know, it just smooths it out. It just really is, you know, advice that's very, very worthwhile to put into practice. So now let's talk about patience, because that has to be a big part of parenting. Patience, if we take the word patience in Hebrew, it's savlanut. The root word of savlanut is sevel, suffering. It's very unbearable to be patient. It's really hard to be patient. Did I say that? Again? Again. It's really a bout of suffering to be patient. It's hard for me to wait for my 5-year-old girl to button those buttons when the bus is out there, and she wants to button those buttons on the shirt. I have to wait 5 minutes, and I have to let her button that shirt. It's really hard when your children say, can I help you make challah? No, mommy doesn't need any help. I'm really okay. Let them help you. I know they make a bigger mess than not. Have the patience. Let them help you. Help them feel that they belong. Help them feel that they're a part of you. Help them feel that you can't wait. I tell you, it's the most toughest thing on Friday to let my kids roll that challah. The oven's going, and I have a million things to put in an oven. And in Israel, the ovens are small. And we have to rotate. The fish can't be in the oven with the meat, and so on, and the cake, and the... Yeah, go ahead. Do the challah. You know, it's okay. You know, it's all right. Can I do the floors? I just did them, but yeah, you could do the floors. Let them. Be patient with them. Don't push them away. They need this. They need to feel like they belong. It's written in Tehillim, Hazorim b'dim'ah barina iktsaru. Those who sow with tears will reap with song. The idea of bringing up our kids is filled with difficulties and tears and anguish. But at the end of the day, if we do it really with all our heart, bringing up kids is 99% davening and praying for them, and 1% personal example. Most of your job, the biggest hishtadlus we have to do today, in today's world about anything, is praying. Emuna. Emuna is praying. That's the biggest hishtadlus we have to put into the world today, especially with our kids. So once I daven, and I work on myself to be a good example for my kids, then I could say to myself, you know what? Okay, I'm tears, I have anguish, it's hard. B'ezrat Hashem, I'm going to reap the benefits. I'm going to pick those fruits, and it's going to be all worthwhile. Second point about learning a role model from Hashem. Hashem has compassion upon us. Okay? We need to show tender feelings towards our kids. You know, if we remembered what it was like to be a kid, we wouldn't be having to sit here tonight. We wouldn't have to be taking parenting courses. Because we would remember what we needed when we were a kid. The thing is, we forgot. So the idea is to bring ourselves down to that level. When those Lego blocks fall down, it's their world that's falling down. It's not, oh, it's just Lego. Well, their Lego blocks falling down is like us missing a mortgage payment. That's how devastating it is for them. So we have to bring ourselves down to that world. These kids live with a tremendous amount of difficulty. When they go out into the world and leave the house, they're going into a war zone. They're not nice to one another. They're full of themselves. They're mean to one another sometimes, hopefully not a lot. We have to understand what they're dealing with. We have to get ourselves out of ourselves, and we have to relate to them on their level. How come you walk away from a musar shmooze and you say to yourself, you know, I could do that, but you just got rebuked. You were just told that what you're doing, let's say, is not right. You need to change your ways. How come? It's because when you're in a musar shmooze, when you get rebuked publicly, like someone, I'm hopefully not doing that too much tonight, then I'm not threatened. Because she's not talking to me, she's talking to that one. She's talking to the crowd. I don't take it personally. When I criticize my kid, he's not going to hear me. I can't rebuke my kid in such a way where he feels like he's this small. You have to be very smart about the way you criticize your kids. The word encouragement is in Hebrew is idud. You know, Lashon HaKodesh teaches us everything. You can't learn from the English language anything. You got to go back to the Hebrew Lashon HaKodesh. Idud, if you break it down, the word idud in English is encouragement. It's od yad, another hand. It's more strength. It's another hand. Take my hand. Take my hand. I'm going to show you where to go. That's what we need to be doing with our kids. We need to be giving them encouragement. We need to be giving them a pat on their shoulders. You just say to them, wow, you know what? What you just did? That's amazing. You know how Hashem's having a party up there? He's got balloons going with your name on it. That's the way we got to be talking to him, to our children. Another piece of advice. I'm trying to go through this quickly. I'm almost done. Hashem doesn't always answer our prayers. This is where we get discouraged and we think Hashem is, God forbid, ignoring us. And why did he put us in this place? And I've been davening and I'm doing Perek Shir every day and Nishmat Kohai and giving my Maser and you know, I went to the Kfarim and why is Hashem not answering me? Well, Hashem doesn't think it's for your best. When he doesn't answer you, he is. And his answer is no. That's an answer. When we say no to our kids, we're not ignoring them. They call us mean. We're not ignoring them. It's for their best, right? So, just like Hashem sometimes, quote unquote, as if ignores us, sometimes we have to also ignore some things that our kids ask us or tell us. It's very painful. It's part of disconnecting. It's part of giving them their space. It's part of, you know, I find myself saying when my kids do something wrong, that wasn't you. That was not my Binyamin. No way. My Binyamin would never say such a thing like that. It was his Yetzer Hara. Shoo. Go away, Yetzer Hara. Get away from my kid. My kid is great. What'd you do to my kid? I want my kid back. That's rebuke in a beautiful way without discouraging them. Which brings us to the Yetzer Hara. We have to teach our kids that they have a Yetzer Hara. We don't teach them that they have a Yetzer Hara. Now, some kids have a Yetzer Hara towards overeating, eating sweets, listening to goyish music, whatever it is, whatever their Yetzer Hara is, being nasty, lying. We have to teach them that we have a Yetzer Hara too. We have to teach them how to help them overcome. You know, honey, it wasn't you. It's your Yetzer Hara. But that's the way Hashem wanted it. So what's our job to do? X, Y, and Z. Acknowledge the fact that your child has a Yetzer Hara. And he's fighting within himself. And it's really hard for him. Very important advice. And lastly, I'm going to go back to the whole idea about happiness. That Hashem wants us to be happy. Again, Emuna is not about blind faith. It's about being loyal to what Hashem tells us and what we know to be true. And we know it's true, but we just cover it up with our ego. So I can't be happy if I don't have a happy environment in my home. If my kids, talking about Torah, if my kids don't see me happy when I'm preparing for Shabbos, and it's, leave me alone. I'm preparing for Shabbos. Don't you see what I'm doing here? Am I teaching my kids that Shabbos is a good thing? I have to look at the messages of what we're saying. I used to be that way. Shoo, out of the house. I'm doing the floors for Shabbos. Out. And I hated myself when I did it, but I'm speaking to myself not to say that. When I heard this by a child rearing expert, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, what am I telling my kid? What am I saying to him? I don't want you in the house before Shabbos? Is that what I'm saying to him? Yeah, that's what I'm saying to him. I need to be happy. I need to put on music. I need to say Shabbat is coming. Wow, all week I've been waiting for it. And we do wait for Shabbat. I know we all do. Shabbat is coming. Can you believe that? Yaakov, Shabbat is coming. 2 more hours, Shabbat is coming. You know who's coming for Shabbos? The Shabbos Queen. The Shabbos Queen is coming for Shabbos. What are you going to do? What are you going to do for the Shabbos Queen? I want you to do something special for the Shabbos Queen, the Shabbos. Show excitement. Show happiness. Show fulfillment. That's how they learn. So we have to practice our Emuna. Again, let's just summarize. Practice our Emuna, emotional healing, and being a personal example. Those are the 3 main points that we sort of talked about tonight. And it's written, Chochmat Nashim Bantat Beita. The wisdom of the wife builds her home. We could do it. If we don't do it, who's going to do it? Who's going to teach our kids? What are we relying on? At the Mora? On the Rebbe? No. No, it has to be in our house. They have to learn. Chesed matchil b'bayit. Chesed starts in your house. Aniyeh irecha kodmim. The poor has to be fed in the house first. First in the house. I didn't say don't do chesed outside the house. But first make sure you have the energy and the patience and the time, and your priority is with your husband and with your children. Only after go outside. First it's the house. So Be'ezrat Hashem, I'm going to leave us with the pasuk and the bracha. Eshtecha kegefen poriya v'yalketei beitecha banecha keshtile zeitim saviv l'shulchanecha. Your wife will be as a fruitful vine. Your sons will be like olive shoots around your table. Amen. So I'm going to open up for questions. If anybody has questions, it is taped, but I will tell you that we can do all kinds of editing on it. Don't worry that the tape is going. If you want me to erase it, you want me to edit it, both on my iPod and both on the video, I will do so. So please don't be hesitant to ask because it's being taped. I will be more than happy to let it, let it go.
You mentioned about the hidden light and how men can get that through women. Does a woman get that light at all through women as well?
Yes. The reason why I said a man is because he learns Torah more than anybody. It's his job to learn Torah about everything. I mean, it's been coming upon us to learn Torah about the things that have to do with the mitzvahs of women. So if I need to keep Shabbos, of course. I have to learn Halchot Shabbat, Kashrut, Halchot Kashrut. Go to the mikvah, Halchot Tahara. That's where I get my glory and my hidden light. But a man who sits and learns, and usually he learns more than a woman, he gets to, embellish him. He's embellished in that hidden light much more often, more readily. Anybody else? It's good to know everything was clear. Are we going to go home tonight and try? I hope so. I know I have to try. I give this shurim and I try. It's for me. I really did. I started writing the daily dose for me. I need the chizuk. Baruch Hashem. All right, thank you so much. I just want to say to everyone, there are discs here, MP3s. We're selling for $5 if you'd like to buy them with the past shurim. And I hope that you'll, be happy to get the Daily Dose of Emuna emails and that it'll bring you chizuk. I'm also available not only for personal consultation while I'm here, but I do Skype sessions. We have women from all around the world, from Australia, France, England, I don't know where they're coming from, South Africa. And so you're welcome to Skype me or arrange for an appointment to Skype with me anytime, even when I'm back in Israel. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so the prayer, please, first of all, just know, you please do not throw away those cards if you don't.